partisan thing. He's actually a Republican, ex-Republican head of Obama's traffic thing. And also, for people to understand what's really going on here, they should all understand that somehow in the dead of night, we're a designated for fast tracking for public housing. So the plans that are going up all over the country replace local government with regional boards, 1. 2, they recommend traffic calming devices, roundabouts, everything that's in both these hand-in-glove plans, comprehensive and the byway, curb bump outs, things to discourage, and this is a quote from Ray LaHood, these designs are to coerce people out of their cars. This will create a sea change in the American lifestyle. The comprehensive plan asks for sewer and all this infrastructure for public housing, and it mentioned all the roundabouts, as does this plan. We do not need regional boards or agencies. Inside this plan, they say, oh, the collaborative is interested in, wait, all right, 3 more seconds, Bert, okay? I'll round it up. The collaborative is interested in consolidation, mergers, and dissolutions. I think you should look into that, and you should look into the John Nolan, as I wrote to Sylvia, whose background is consolidating towns, merging towns, and dissolving towns, whole towns, and having them replaced with regional entities. You're playing with fire, and you're falling for all the great words, in my humble opinion. Thank you.
I think your opening statement was important when you said, as you start to formulate this plan.
I think the rest of it was important too.
Well, I do too. But I just say that I think that's very important too, that you realize this is, you know, the formulation, the process isn't over.
Okay, I just have, yes, sir.
I ask for permission to say a few words.
Yes, sir.
Before we get lost in too much minutia here, I would like to be sure, let it come from me and I hope from the rest of the audience, to thank Robert and Peter for their outstanding explanation of what we are trying to accomplish. And I speak as an outsider looking in, and I respect what they're trying to do, and I surely hope that they live long enough to see it accomplished. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert, I got one question.
Yeah.
Other towns have voted against it. How does that affect the whole of 28 as a scenic byway? Does the state look negatively on that, or is it scenic byway for 50 miles and then nothing?
No one has voted against it, has it?
Yeah, Shandaken.
No, Shandaken hasn't voted.
Has it?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Essentially doing the same thing.
Well, we had a meeting with them, and there were some Shandaken board members at our meeting in Margaretville. And the important thing was that it was the first time that collaborative members had been able to meet with their town boards and supervisors, because we were kind of appointed by the town board as just a representative for Olive, but the authority rests with the local boards. You know, I can understand everything that was said, but the idea of roundabouts, I mean, we have a roundabout at the end of Route 28 where you come off the thruway. That's a roundabout. And the discussion of, you know, the curb cuts and the bump outs and everything was just a specific reference to that area in Boyceville. And in none of the other towns was anything like that mentioned. And we felt that that kind of distracted the attention from the real principle of what the byway was about.
And that's, I think, what we were saying when we said, you know, some of the language needs to be tweaked so you don't distract from the real
We want to limit
issue.
it to what it's really about, and not, you know, get involved in these areas of local government or loss of local control. It's the participation between West Hurley and Andes on the whole, along the just to have the people meeting each other and talking about things, and an entity that would manage the byway would just manage the affairs of that byway organization, whatever programs they wanted to institute. If they wanted to do we're talking about, we're doing an audio guide for the Route 28 corridor, so that it'd be on a CD that people could listen to at home or in their car, or a publication or a guide, something like that. That's what it's concerned about. But it also, in reference to the intrinsic qualities, the scenery, the recreation, the businesses, all of that is part of it. Just because we acknowledge it's there doesn't mean we want to own it or take it from the owners. It's not, we're just saying, look at that beautiful mountain. We're not saying we now own that beautiful mountain. If it says you have to think about the effect of putting houses up on a ridgeline, doesn't mean that we would have the authority to deny someone the permission to do that. That rests with the town board.
Okay, Peter.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for the town board for watching out for this, being so vigilant, being a part of the process, because the process has been marked by public participation the whole time. We kicked it off, the concept in 2008, and at the first meeting, we talked about a scenic byway, and everyone said, hold on a second, we want to hear from an expert from New York State. Next meeting, we had that person come in. The whole entire process has been open to the public, and it thrives on the dialogue that we're hearing here tonight. And the whole process doesn't get started unless you say so and the other 6 towns also say so. So I work for the pleasure of this board as well as the other 6 boards that are part of this. If you don't want this, and there's 2 parts to it, which I'll explain again, then it doesn't go anywhere. Part number 1, I came to you in 2008. I said, can we have an intermunicipal or regional conversation? If you designate 2 people to serve in this dialogue, in this conversation from your town, I'll bring it together. And you said yes. Then we went along the following year in 2009. The group, after the dialogue, the discussion, they said, you know what? We would like to pursue a scenic byway designation. The state had a lot of money for it, then they had nothing. The people pulled together and said, never mind the money, we still want to do the project. We came back to you and we said, we're aware of a grant for 1/4 of the amount. Would you support this grant to go for a corridor management plan with the CWC? And you said yes, and all the other 6 communities said yes. So myself and these volunteers, which are to be highly commended for all the work they've done and continue to do, serve at your pleasure. And yes, there's all kinds of language in there, but there's some very other important language. Economic depression. This place is hurting, and I live further up the corridor. It's not doing too well. We hear the reports from the school boards and so forth. This isn't going to solve everything, but these people, with their guidance and my help, we put something together that can help this equation to rejuvenate the area using the wonderful resources that we have. So to tie it up, I appreciate your concern and you're looking at this with a magnifying glass. And as Carol said and Robert said, we will address, explain, amend the document for all your concerns. And Charlie and anyone else, I can make a copy of this document. I'm not trying to withhold information, but this is the only copy I have. So if the town of Olive has a machine in the back room, I'll copy it tonight. Thank you.